Hello there, it's Sev from Three Counties Motorhomes and welcome to the video guide for the LCD control panel design that you see here. This is quite commonly found on Swift Group motorhomes in more recent years. Now, this panel is very easy to use, but it's not immediately obvious how certain things are working or what sort of information is being presented to you. So hopefully this video guide will help you understand how to use the control panel and get the best out of it. So at the moment, as you can see, the power is off, and it does say there power off, but the control panel does still have some power and it's currently displaying the time. Now, the power button should be relatively easy to spot. It's this one here at the bottom right hand corner, and when we press it, then things come to life. Now I'm going to turn the phone light off, or the camera light off here, and you can see that we have a main screen that looks like this. Now I'll go through all of these things in just a moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find the lights in here, there we go, so that I can show you the buttons that we see around the panel. So we have 3 buttons here. These are all specifically for lighting circuits, so that's only going to control lighting. This one here is a picture of a tap. That's for your water pumps. That will turn that on or off. And then these buttons here are for interacting with the display and changing settings. So this button here is going to turn on a particular set of lights. In this instance, it's turning on and off the outside awning light on this particular vehicle. The next button is turning on the main lighting circuit, and then this one here is turning on the secondary lighting circuit. Now in this particular vehicle, the main lighting circuit is essentially the lights around the front of the vehicle. The secondary is at the rear, but this will vary from vehicle to vehicle as to what lights and where in the motorhome they will be acting on. So that's that. Now, like I say, the water pump will be that one there. So that's how we turn on and off the water pump. And then next, we're left with the display. So what we have here is an LCD backlit display. We have at the top left, the currently selected battery, which is the leisure battery. You can tell it has the letter L inside the battery icon. We then have a zigzag or a lightning bolt here showing us that we are plugged into mains electricity. We have the time yet again, but this time smaller at the top center. Then on the left, you can see here we have F, the little F in the bottom corner, and then we have a segmented display. It's about 4 or 5 segments large, so we're currently seeing about 3 out of 5 here. This is the fresh water tank capacity on the left. We have a W here on the right, so this one is for the waste tank, which is currently empty, so there's no segments on display there. Now at the moment, you can see here that we have a number in the center of the screen. This is the currently selected battery voltage. I can tell it's the voltage because it says V, as you can see there, after the number. So we're reading the battery voltage. And of course, the leisure battery in this instance is on charge, so we're seeing a higher voltage. Now the bar gauge at the bottom here, this is the ammeter. This is showing us the amount of energy going in or out of the battery, or at least it should. Now, what we can do, we can flip the information that we see on the gauges and things here. But let me just go through the pages that we can see. So let me get back to what I call the, here we go. This is the main, or the start of the menus, if you will. The one here that says Sargent and then the EC620. That is the panel that we're using here. So it's made by Sargent and it is an EC620 model. That's it there. Now, this enter button, I'll call it here, the left arrow, this will cycle the software version number and everything there as well. So important information for diagnostics and things really only. If I press down, we then can see the leisure battery voltage, and it's currently saying that it's charging because it's detecting a high voltage, and we see that information on the display. If I press the enter button here, it's going to switch the representation. So where previously the number was the voltage and the bar gauge was the amps, it's the other way around now. So we're currently at 0.3 of an amp, and we can see that exactly as a number, and now we're seeing the voltage as represented by a segmented bar graph there. So we can flip that just by pressing the enter button. Press down again, we can see the vehicle battery information. So it's saying the vehicle battery is good. We've got the voltage there and the ammeter there. And again, of course, we can switch that over in the same way. Next one down, we have the solar power. So this is the amount of solar current being generated, or amount of current being generated by your solar panel. As you can see here, we have the ammeter as the number, and then the target battery, which is the leisure battery, voltage just there. If I press the enter button, again, that switches round. So we'd have the solar generation on the ammeter there, and the current battery voltage just there. Going down, we have the option to select battery, and I'm going to come on to that in a short moment. Next down, we have tank heaters on or off. Press the enter button here to change that selection. Again, if you have tank heaters fitted, this will, of course, turn those on and off. You have to refer to your vehicle's manuals for information on whether or not you have tank heaters fitted and, you know, essentially what tanks are affected, either one or both. We then have AC limit on or off. So at the moment, we're now seeing the amount of electrical energy, or current, should I say, being used by the mains electrical hookup. And we can limit that here. So if I press the enter button, we can limit that to 5 amps, 6 amps, 7, right the way through until we get to 16. So 16 is the largest limit, and then back to no limit. Right there. And then we have the internal temperature, which we can see there. If I press the enter button on this, we can see the humidity. Then we can see the external temperature. So that's those three there. And then we get to our lights dimmer level. Now, one of these lights, which I believe is this one here, is typically a dimmable circuit. And by pressing on the enter button, we can cycle through the dimmer levels on a sort of 5% increment all the way up, and then it will round robin like so. And then we have heater settings. Now, if I go into this, we can choose whether the control is on a timer, manual, on an app, basically. There may be other settings here depending on how your control panel has been connected, because this control panel is capable of being connected to a heating and hot water system as well as a fridge freezer system. So you may see some slightly different options, but sometimes in some instances you can control your heating via this control panel rather than having to use the heating and hot water panel itself, or you can change what is actually giving control, of course, by this option. So a timer will control it there, an app will control it there, and in this instance we're back to manual. And then, oh yeah, I need to now go to exit settings, and then I click the enter there. So we're out of heater settings. We go down and then we're into system settings. So if I press the enter button here, we get into the settings here. So we can set the time. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, that's annoying. I'm gonna have to go all the way back round to 15 now. I thought the enter button would skip me out, but I thought the arrow buttons would go up or down. But no, so we've got minute or the hour we can set there, as well as the day, the date, the month, and the year, whether or not the keys are going to beep, backlight, LED, and then we can turn on or off alarms, pair to Bluetooth if we want to, delete Bluetooth devices, and exit settings. And I believe that is it. Yes, system settings was the last option. Like I say, in some instances this can have the fridge settings on there as well, so you can control the fridge via this as well, but this particular motorhome doesn't have that functionality. And hopefully that explains the control panel. Pretty much that's it. That's basically it in a nutshell. So now you understand how you can change the representation of the information. It should hopefully make things, or should hopefully allow things to make much more sense. Now, the one thing I didn't obviously go into more detail with was the next one, select battery. So by pressing the enter button on this option, it says leisure selected here. If I press the button, it now says vehicle selected. And you can see here we have V on the battery there. So we are now selecting the vehicle battery. And as you can see, wet amps are now piling into the battery, and of course with a nice high voltage on the vehicle battery. If I was to go up now, we'll see the vehicle battery shows charging, and the leisure battery says good because it's no longer on charge. Now, please bear in mind, this is only to charge your vehicle battery or leisure battery at the flick of a switch. Now, please do not select your vehicle battery when you're not plugged into mains electricity, or for any reason your charger isn't working as expected, because of course by switching battery you are switching the battery connected to the motorhome, so therefore of course that is going to drain the selected battery unless your charger is running. So, and of course you don't want to be draining your vehicle battery. That is a very, very bad thing to do. So that covers the battery swap. Now it's as simple as basically going to, or one thing that would be interesting actually, if we go to the solar panel power here, yes, so whichever battery is the selected battery in this particular vehicle installation is also the solar panel target as well, but of course that could be different on your vehicle, so just bear that in mind. But there we go. So that's the control panel here that you typically find in most Swift vehicles. It's the Sargent EC620 in this instant. I'm Sev. I hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.